I was genuinely LOLing.
Hello and welcome to Unrelenting, episode number 106. Yeah, we're into March finally.
Hey.
24, cool. Yeah. March.
Stuff.
At first I had episode number 206 down, found my notes. That was obviously a typo. Or did we do an extra 100 episodes?
Yes, you slept through them. We're at 206 now.
With the last 100 good?
Well, donations weren't great, I'll tell you that much.
We'll have to go back through the last 100 episodes and see who donated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think you talked about it. I think we're all good.
It's a beautiful day in the city of Chirac. It's down. I mean, it's in the about 40 degrees now. So winter's
yeah, it's
back.
not a whole lot warmer here right now.
I know. I heard you guys were getting some storms. You were getting hit.
I don't know about that. I may probably slept through it, but temperatures are definitely in the upper 40s right now.
Did you get some snow yet? No
Don't
snow.
even joke about that.
They love it when it gets some snow down in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Then they turn your power off just because they're like, well,
yeah, exactly.
Can't have these people being too comfortable in a snowstorm.
Mm-hmm.
They may be trying to kill you. Have you thought about that?
Well, I'm sure they are, actually. I don't think that's a question.
We have spiked up to 46 people listening on the stream. Woo!
Up? You mean down?
No, it's to 47. There's another one.
Uh-huh.
Cotton Gin wrote a little script that now does a rolling 4 hours. So it looks like an EKG or a lie detector test with the thing just kind of going up and down, up and down. So it's kind of fun to watch that now. You don't have to go to Doug and ask him. You can just watch Cotton Gin's script on the web. For no agenda, It's great. It goes up like, woo! It goes up through Dusty Apple's pre-show. And then it really jumps up through the rock and roll pre-show. And then No Agenda comes on. And then Adam Curry, not wrong. The minute, especially now that they're doing their donation segment at the end, because they've been doing donation segment, then just the meetup reports and then one last little cute story and then done. Fell off a cliff the minute the donations started.
Really?
People are like, nope, don't want to hear those. But it's fun to watch in real time. It's like watching those focus groups. You can see the people like, oh, I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it, and then no, hate it.
Yeah. That's not far off for sure. I think your description is not far off. So I mean,
It's interesting to see because, then you get into the psychology of the people that are donating. And if you know that the donations have now been moved to the end of the show and people are tuning out, well, then does anybody even know you donated? So that can hurt donations. Where the people that were pissed about the donations being earlier in the show, the way I would look at it is those people are never going to donate. So you really shouldn't be cared if the people who never donate are pissed, because the way the show is supported is by the people who do donate.
Okay, you're starting to lose me. What are you getting at?
I'm just saying.
Are you suggesting, why don't we do donations right now is what I'm thinking.
Right. Well, this is great because we can. This is the ultimate. Scott Gorman came in with the show number donation, $106 and no freaking note. Scott, if you had something to say, feel free to send us a note. Do we have email addresses at Unrelenting? Maybe I should set one up.
We have Gene at SirGene.com.
True. We have Darren at GrumpyOldBens.com.
Yeah. So when you read the notes, I was going to reply to him, but I didn't have his email.
Who? Was there a note from Scott? Because I got a $106 donation from him. But
no. Sorry. No, not Scott. I was talking about the guy that talked about Affinity.
Oh, you're talking about the little 2,000 Satoshi boost.
Yeah.
I'm talking about $106 coming in.
Well, you didn't tell me about that. That's news to me.
I just did. Wake up. I know you were up at like 4 a.m. memeing things, so I don't know.
I was. God, I got no freaking sleep today.
I mean, we have a show number donation without a note. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. That is weird.
But if you had anything
he generally
to say,
sends donations.
we are both on X.
Sends notes.
We's on X. And I should set up like notes at unrelenting.show. That would make sense too. So because PayPal should allow you to send a note in, but they don't always do it.
Yeah.
And then our buddy,
I've honestly, I know some people say that. I've never had a note not go through PayPal.
That would usually it's when people forget to put it in or they do something weird. Or it's one of these things where the website just isn't set up correctly. I was trying to buy some stuff from our buddy Cal over at lavenderblossoms.org. And I could have sworn I was doing everything right, putting in the credit card number, and it just would spin. It would spin. And there's nothing worse than something that just never gives you an error. It just keeps spinning. And then you have to refresh and like, well, did that go through? Because I don't want my credit card hit again and again and again.
Right.
Don't want to cause any issues. And then realized that phone number or something was a field that was required, but it wasn't filled in. So, but it didn't say, no, phone number not filled in. So it took me a while to figure that one out. Sometimes I think that's the way PayPal kind of works. Even though there's a note, maybe it doesn't pass the note along, or they don't know that the note, or what, something weird. But Gene and I are both on X, and you had Gene at sirgene.com, Darren at randomthoughts.com, or grumpyoldbens.com. That all works. So if you had something to say, because we do appreciate the show number donation, we should get like a big,
obviously,
big prize pack for that one. I mean, if we had unrelenting.social, you would totally be a member now, but we don't yet.
I don't know that people want that.
I know, because social, the Fediverse, but we can get to that. The Fediverse is dying. The only reason the no agenda Fedi thing was a thing,
which was one of the biggest at the time when it first arrived.
Well, it was because it was that kind of a closed community, sadly enough. People went there because of, we want to talk to other no agenda folks. The minute that fell apart, those people all left. There is a vast majority of the people that I was following were following me. Now that the switchover was made, they're just gone. Our buddy Tim Heasel comes in with his monthly $10.80 donation. Thank you very much. Kevin Seifert with his monthly $5 donation. Thank you. And then we did have a boost from Aqualith for 2,033 Satoshis. With the way Bitcoin's going, that might be like $500 soon. But right now it's like $1 or $2. I think that's what 2033 would be. And he talked about our Adobe Cloud discussion. I'm still looking for a good price on the Adobe student teacher that was on sale. I know it was on sale when I found out I needed it, and it went off. And I saw, but yours is on student teacher, so that I would get screwed.
No, it's regular edition at 40% off.
Yeah, but then I would have to have the student teacher one expire, and then when I can't find the other one in a year, then so that would all be kind of screwy. But Aqualist,
so you're paying monthly, right?
No, yearly.
Oh, you prepay for the whole year?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I get the card from, and see, it had been Amazon would sell them, but then Amazon went to digital only, and their system for digital subscriptions sucks.
Yeah.
Best Buy, with the last year, I bought the card from Best Buy and they would deliver it. This year, Best Buy won't deliver it. They say they're in the store, so I could probably just walk into a Best Buy. It looks like B&H still does it, where they will just provide you with the code for 1 year. So you just go into your account on the Adobe and you give it the code and it adds a year. So I spend the $200. It was on sale, I think, for $179, which was insane. And now it's back up to the $230 for the year, which is still way better than buying Adobe at full price.
Oh, yeah. No, it's like $600 a year at full price.
So, yeah, this is less than half.
And we're talking about it because why?
Of the boost from Aqualith, we talked about it on the last show, and he says, Have you not heard of Affinity? Affinity.serif.com.
Right. Yeah.
They have a Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign alternative suite that's buy once, own forever, just like the old school Adobe suite as God intended. A lot of small shops like mine are boycotting with it and happily churning out great stuff for our clients. And no, I was not aware of Affinity. I know there are alternatives out there.
Okay.
But I was not really aware of it because I really haven't looked for years because I'm like, I like Photoshop. I'm used to Photoshop. I do use Audition for the audio. I don't see anything in here for audio recording, multi-track, all the fun stuff that Adobe Audition gives you. I also, not as often, but I do use the video Premiere program that Adobe has. So I'm a little bit more ingrained in things that aren't. If it was just Photoshop, then this would make a lot of sense. But when you get into the audio stuff, the video stuff, and there are things that I would like to use that I just have never gotten around to playing around with too much with the Adobe one, including the character animator where you can create the character and then turn your webcam on and just move around like a freak and it will make the character move around like you are. I mean, I think that's kind of cool stuff.
That is cool stuff. And I've been meaning to play with that for a long time. But let me answer the donation that we got for Affinity. Unlike you, I am very aware of it.
Are you using it?
Bought the entire Affinity suite when it came out. And then about a year ago, so several years after I bought the full suite, and I think I want to say they were $99 per app, and there's 3 apps.
Which isn't horrible
at
all.
$300, so it wasn't too bad. But about a few years after that, they came out with Affinity 2 or Affinity Pro, or I can't remember what the name is, but they stopped updating the apps that I bought, and they changed the name slightly, and they came out with new apps.
Oh, yeah, but you don't have to pay for those old ones anymore.
And no, I don't. But that's when I decided to stop going with Affinity and go back to Photoshop because, the idea that you buy once and you don't have to pay yearly is a great idea. However, if all they do is come out with a new app that you have to rebuy every 2 years, it's the same goddamn thing.
Right. They'll say you don't have to update it or upgrade
you don't
it, but
have to. You still keep it. Sure. Well, I guess maybe unlike some people, I like to have the latest features. So
yes. I mean, I still hear occasionally from people, mainly on threads online.
And Adobe has so many more tools, including about a dozen different apps on the iPad. That, well, again, the idea of Affinity would be cool, and that, like, I have some games. Like I was playing the other day, I was playing No Man's Sky, which came out 9 years ago, and they've been making updates for free to that game for the last 9 years. So it's still a maintained and supported game. I paid $50 or whatever it was once for it, and it still works 9 years later.
Right. I'm assuming they're still selling the game. It's still viable.
They're still selling the game. Exactly. And this is true of most games on Steam, is that when you buy them, the support cycle tends to be in, 3 to 5 to even 10 years for some games. And the trend on iPad apps was very much make an app. If it goes big and you make enough money, you immediately make a new version of that app, which you don't upgrade everybody who bought the first app to, and you call it Pro, or you call it 2, or you call it something with a year in it. And, okay, maybe I'll do that once. So I'll buy the new Pro app or whatever version you got. And then they do it again. I mean, remember, this is what Adobe used to do back in the day, back when people weren't complaining about the fact that they had a subscription. Adobe had apps that they create. And I've been an Adobe Photoshop user since version 1.0. I believe that it was 1986 is the first year that I bought Photoshop.
Yeah, I think I first bought version 6 for some reason is sticking out in my mind. And I think at that point
it was like black and white when I bought it.
Well, yeah.
That's how old it is.
Version 6 wasn't. But I think when I bought version 6, unless I'm totally hallucinating, maybe I am, I think it was like $1,299. It was something crazy for just Photoshop. No, this was just
Photoshop. I don't think it's that's not correct. It's never been that expensive. Back in the 80s, it was $300, I believe, and that was crazy expensive for a piece of software. And then, at least in the Mac, there might have been some packages that were on other platforms that were, but on the Mac, it seems crazy. And then, that was back when it was just Photoshop. There was no Illustrator. There was no any other software that came with a bundle. And then by the mid 90s, even before that, by the early 90s, I think the price had gone up to $4.99 and then $5.99. And I think the highest that I remember seeing it without additional software just for Photoshop was $6.99. So I don't think it's ever been over $1,000. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody has an image of a for sale
of a price tag
for over $1,000, send it to us. I'd be very curious. But I was using Photoshop a lot back then. I actually was working in the pre-press space, and I don't think it ever went over $700 by itself. If you wanted the whole Adobe suite, obviously that was more expensive. But also, when back then, initially you bought Photoshop and they gave you free updates for about 3 years. And then that time slowly started shrinking to where you got 1 year of free updates. But the subscription model, that's my point. I know I'm kind of taking a long way around it, but the subscription model for Adobe came about as a result of people complaining about the fact that they kept charging for new versions. And incidentally, you could always buy an upgrade. If you were a current customer of Photoshop and a new version comes out, your upgrade price will typically be less than 50% of what you paid for the previous version.
Yeah, quite often about 30%.
Yeah, so if it was $6.99, if it was a $700 product initially, your upgrade would probably be $299. And those were always the most expensive software products you could buy, other than specialty stuff like Mathematica or, Design Works or shit that's really meant for you to make money with, which Adobe Photoshop definitely is meant to make money with. It's not a fuck around kind of software, even though a lot of us have used it for fucking around. So my long-winded point about this is, yes, I'm aware of Affinity. I was a customer, but when they decided to update it to whatever the next version was, I just decided to go back to paying for Adobe.
Yeah, according to a post on Twitter, which we know is always right, it said CS6 cost $6.99 when it came out.
There you go. So that's the highest price I remember was $6.99.
Which now they want to charge you, $50 a month? So about $600 a year.
The full rate with no discount is $50 a month, which is $600 a year.
So,
and that gives you like 14 desktop products and 9 products on the iPad.
Yes. So the initial release of Photoshop 33 years ago. 33 years ago, it was February 19th, 1990. So I guess that's 34 years now, right? Oh,
it was before 90. So they changed the name of it. It was originally released as Darkroom, and then it became Photoshop. First time I saw it, when I actually bought it, was at SIGGRAPH it was either 86 or 87, but it's that same company. It was same logo, same everything. It was black and white product, and the color version was an upgrade from that.
And the concept of monthly subscription versus update pricing, you're always going to have somebody that's mad about one or the other. The thing comes down to how much you use the software.
I mean, ideally, it's free upgrades for life, right?
Right, which a few things do. I mean, I've got the program that I have on Windows that does all of the crazy things for having multiple monitors. It's called Display Fusion. And I don't know if they run this all the time, but at one point they ran a buy it once and you will get updates for life. And I've been getting updates for life.
There's a few.
There's
a few products like that, but not many, man.
No, I do Directory Opus, which I love on my Windows machines to replace the Windows Explorer. It's an Australian company that's been coming. I've been using this for...
Who the hell uses it? Windows Explorer?
I don't know, but I wouldn't. That's why the minute I get a new computer, it's not Display Fusion. The Directory Opus replaces that. It's well worth it. I don't get unlimited updates, but every year, like you said, and when the new version comes out, and it may not be every year, but when a new version comes out, it's like 30% of the retail price if you want to upgrade.
I was doing Photoshop upgrades about every other year. Basically, I want as long as you could go and still qualify for the next version, which was
to keep the
longer
discount
than a
going,
year.
right?
Yeah. Because at some point, if you're like 2 versions behind, they're not going to let you do it. But I want to say it was like 18 to 20 months, roughly. And I was for some time, I was actually making enough money with Photoshop that it made total sense. And then I was not making money with Photoshop, and then I was like bitching about it, but still doing it. And then in the early 2000s, I switched from analog photography, from old school film, to doing digital photography. And then I started using Photoshop all the time again. And then they came out with Darkroom. Although maybe that was in the 90s they came out. But no, I think it was in 2000s. I think it was mid 2000s Darkroom came out. And that honestly became a much more useful tool than Photoshop was to me. And they also came out with a photo discount, so that if you don't need all the other crap,
you just wanted Photoshop, right?
Then it was like $29 a month.
Right, so because what people started immediately complaining were the folks that they built their business upon, which were a lot of professional photographers who were like, hey, I'm never going to do audio editing. Hey, I'm never going to do video editing.
Exactly. Screw that shit. And the video editing stuff, honestly, for a lot of people, like Final Cut was $199 when it came out, $299 pretty much since then for the last 20 years, and arguably does everything and has had tons of professional work edited on it. Although I use DaVinci now for what little editing I do. I actually bought DaVinci, which is I think the best deal right now. $99 for a commercial product that movies are made on.
Hard to beat that.
And it's not a subscription.
Well, there are different ways to look at where you can pull the most money in. And most of these companies do that with what they've got. And and it doesn't help piracy. Piracy's
done well.
Yeah, well, and piracy's still rampant.
Well, it is, because again, now they've jacked up the price of the subscription so high that people aren't paying the subscription, because piracy totally got reduced when they went to the subscription model, because a lot of people got what they wanted, which is, I'm not going to pay you $600 or more every year for one piece of software. That's insane. I only use it now and then. So that's the other thing, is what I do is I rarely keep a subscription running the whole year. I generally will start it when there's a sale, and I will stop it after I haven't used it for a few months.
Which makes sense.
And so, I haven't gotten to the point where it's something that I need all the time, because I use other tools. Although arguably, like for
there's always another tool.
Descript, which I've been using for audio editing forever.
Yes.
It seems like for like 3 years now, I think. Or longer. But that's $20 a month. So that's what, $240 a year.
Right. And when you now look at, and I have just saw the different settings and what you can do now in Premiere, but you can take your WAV file now. So if you're doing this for podcasting, you could take your finished WAV file and throw that into Premiere, and it will, even though it's the video editor, that's the only thing that has built in where it will look for long silences. It will look for filler words. It will do pretty much everything I believe that the script does for you. Right.
Yeah, and it's about time.
Yeah.
Honestly, they should have done it sooner.
Now, I don't know the quality, because this would be the other question. Is the Descript process, is their algorithm better at voice to text? Because this, you don't want it to...
It's been around longer.
Yeah, but you don't want to screw up and have it telling you that, although it'll highlight the filler words so you can go through and decide on your own. It's not like you have to let Adobe, well, just take all filler words out that you think.
Have you played with Descript at all? You should grab the free version just to test it versus Adobe.
I had it like right when I first heard about it, but it's been a while. Been a while.
Okay, so I've been streaming for a while, but just finally got around to posting the link.
Well, hey, we're live on X.
Yeah, and it's all running on OBS now, so it's not using the link.
Is that better?
Well, it's not better. It's just that this allows us to use clean feed for the sound portion.
Is it giving us a better equalized sound so everybody sounds good?
You're assuming anybody's watching?
No, I mean,
like
but if they are,
after I mentioned it,
but if they tune in and you're like, "Hi, I'm Gene. I'm really loud," and I'm like, they're like, "Wait, I can't hear the other guy."
It's I'm getting into the yellow. Say something.
Hello.
Yeah, you're a little under. So let me just.
Oh, jack me up, baby. Jack me up good.
Just so, I think you're max jacked.
Max jacked.
You're max jacked, man.
We're max jacked right here on Unrelenting. How you doing, everybody? Got to match that jack.
You can tweak that on your end, because you can turn up the sending back to me portion.
Right. But the clean feed only lets you do so much, and then they start adjusting it for like, oh, you're too loud.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because you can even see it on clean feed. You're not getting into the yellow.
Yeah, you're barely hitting the yellow, and I'm not.
Yeah, I try to peek at the yellow, just into it. I don't go much past that, but you're not even getting to the yellow on here.
I had to go into my mix minus. I'll just jack up the mix minus a little bit. 1, 2, mix minus. Oh, yeah, this is high quality audio gear right now. Hey. Oh, there we go.
Tad higher.
Oh, right there. See, I just hit it.
Right there. Now you're starting to touch the yellow.
Oh, you got to touch that yellow, baby.
And the 2 meters totally correspond to each other. So when you're in the yellow in clean feed, you're in the yellow in the audio mixer and going into OBS.
That's a beautiful thing. Memes 1337 also came in with 1337, said, long-suffering listener. First and most likely last-time booster. Finally, some decent content. Good news, it's probably going to cause the removal of the show. Smiley face. Stay unrelenting. Well, thank you, Memes.
Which content do you think he's referring to?
All of it. Could be the Russian stuff. All of it
is going to end up in cancellation of the show. What?
Yeah, we talk about bad things. Like there was a Telegraph article revealed.
Telegraph.
Yeah, the Telegraph out of the UK. How Putin plans to flood the West with migrants, and the whole thing about how Russia's going to use migrants to affect elections in other countries. And I'm like, hello. Hello.
So you're saying there's collusion between Putin and Biden.
Hello, media. Media.
I mean, to be fair, Putin did endorse Biden for election.
I know. Nobody wants to talk about that. They're still saying he wants Trump back. It's like, well, no, he said he wanted Biden.
No. He does not.
He's having way more fun
like Trump
with Biden
but
in
he
there.
Prefers Biden.
But this concept that they're doing this in Europe, it's like, well, what do you think's going on in the United States?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
There's still Europe around, though.
I guess. I mean, I've never been there.
I wonder how many more years they're going to survive.
The wonderful EU.
Without food and without electricity.
Without Putin giving them what they need.
Well, without them buying what they need voluntarily, they're just not buying it.
And then to show you how bad the media is, the story about Wendy's and their surge pricing. Oh my God!
What's this now?
Wendy's had one of their usual boring things where the CEO spoke and he said, moving into 2025, we're looking at things like digital menu boards, dynamic pricing, and a few other things. And of course, saying dynamic pricing, all of the media ran with, oh, they're going to do surge pricing like Uber. They're going to charge you more for your Whopper when it's lunchtime.
Shit, I better get my Whopper ordered right now then.
Sorry, Whoppers don't come from Wendy's, but otherwise, we're perfectly right in
the Wendy Whoppers. Those are good.
I covered this on this week's Random Thoughts, which was fantastic. I went and then just did a quick Google to see
I need to start listening to that again.
Who had covered this story, and it was everybody. Literally, every news organization you could think of was on the list. And that was not what Wendy said. Nobody even picked up the phone to call and be like, hey, Wendy's, can you clarify this? And the worst thing was, once Wendy's clarified that what they meant was not to do an Uber surge pricing, when they talk about dynamic pricing, they're talking more like early bird special kind of things, which, if we're not selling a lot of burgers between 8 and 10 p.m., maybe the burgers will be 20% off between 8 and 10 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah. So the assumption is, they're going to jack prices up where they're talking about lowering prices.
Yes. Now, when it came down, the Wendy's spokesperson clarified that, they will not be implementing surge pricing. Now, this article in the New York Post, it was just idiotic because the Post is like, Wendy's is now, I don't see it in the article, but it's somewhere in here. It's like Wendy's is now walking back. I'm like, Wendy's isn't fucking walking back anything. You motherfuckers got it wrong.
Made a mistake. Yeah.
They're not walking it back. This is what is used by journalists now when they're wrong.
Man commits suicide. Oh, turns out he's alive. Man walks back. Commitment of suicide.
Yes. This is how the media covers the stuff, rather than saying, we boned it. We just assumed something that was incorrect. You'll now be like, well, now Wendy's is walking back there. No, but Wendy's never said they were doing this. They said dynamic pricing. They didn't say we're going to be doing surge pricing and then change their mind. They never said that. So there was nothing to walk back, you fucks.
Now, are you Wendy's, of the shitty quality food places, what's your favorite?
If we had to go Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's wins.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Probably Wendy's and then Burger King second, McDonald's last.
And I really like White Castles, but I understand the quality is not what normal people would consider good. It's a certain taste.
I loved White Castles because they're kind of a Midwest staple.
Hell yeah. And they're delicious, but they're not a great burger. I mean, I love the taste, but they're not a great burger.
No, they're kind of a steamed fake burger.
Yeah.
With onions, though.
Well, they're so right. The onions are delightful. The burgers are now so thin that they're like paper. And the buns are so
inflated.
Yes. You're right. They're 99%. They
deflate to thinner than a slice of cheese.
They're 99% air because you can take like a whole slider and put it in your mouth. You don't even have to chew. It's going to disappear.
No. Yeah. That's why it's called a slider.
I don't even understand how it works. It's kind of like the wife loves these little mints that this one company makes, these peppermint things that you put them in your mouth and they just disintegrate. This is kind of what a slider does. And I like them. That's why you almost have to ask for extra pickle, because then there's at least something you can chew. That's about all you're getting that doesn't disintegrate. Extra pickle. That's
true. The pickles you can actually feel.
Nothing else. Not the meat, not the bun. The pickles you got.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I love me some pickles too now that I'm a shawarma nut. You got to have some good pickles.
Are you eating a lot of shawarma?
About once a week.
I am not a fan of shawarma. I prefer kebabs.
Oh, the kebabs are great too. They make those too.
The shawarma is basically mincemeat. It's chopped up meat that is then kind of molded together.
It's very burrito-like.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Arab burrito.
The Arabic burrito. It's I do find that the bread is actually quite a bit tastier than the burrito.
Yes. Oh, totally. Yes. Well, I think the place here that does, I mean, all the bread's freshly made. Oh, it's delightful. You can do it you can get it with pita too and do it more like a gyro. But I like
So the price of a Whopper is $7.19 right now.
For a single Whopper? Wow.
Single Whopper. I'm looking at the Burger King app right now. You got me hungry, so I'm looking at stuff.
You like the home of the Whopper right here at Unrelenting.
Yeah, not brought to you by Whoppers. The Impossible Whopper is $8.19.
God, that's disgusting.
And then Texas Whopper is $9.99.
And what is that?
Well, it's 1,090 calories is what it is.
Woo! That'll keep you up all night. No, it won't.
Hold up. No. Okay. Yeah. So it's basically 1,090 calories for the burger and 500 calories for the fries.
That's a carb load.
Now, would you like a sugared drink with that?
Oh yeah, dude, give me a Frosty.
3,300 calories.
Just for the Frosty?
That's for the Frosty, the burger, and the fries.
Okay, so your little sugar meter, man. I want to can you eat that and then just show a video of
this is the Burger King app, dude. I'm not, I'm not plugging my meter in and then watching the sugar go to crazy levels by eating Burger King.
Be like, let's see what's going on here. Wow, Gene is in serious trouble
there's not
right
much
here.
Meat in there either. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the amount of carbs in a Burger King Whopper is pretty high.
Yes. Yeah, you got
Why is the Texas Whopper more than a triple Whopper? That makes no sense.
How much meat's it got, baby? Is it extra Texas meat?
Triple Whopper is 1,170 calories because it has an extra thing of meat.
Woo!
The Texas Whopper, it's got bacon and cheese. That's why.
Oh, well, you got to have bacon. I mean, if you're going to have a burger, you got to have some bacon on it.
Oh, dude. So,
dude.
I went to lunch with my lawyer yesterday. And
is there some impending litigation that might have you missing a few shows in the near future?
Possibly, but it's all good. But the first time ever he paid, so I felt like it was a special day when the lawyer picks up the tab. And the other thing that was hilarious about it, other than him paying, was he had two Jews sitting at Fogo de Chao eating bacon wrapped chicken and Parmesan pork.
But was it delicious?
Oh, it's always delicious. Love that stuff, man.
And when your lawyer picks up the bill, that usually means there's really bad news on the horizon for you. They're like, we see you're going to be making us a lot of money in the near future.
Like, there's probably $100,000 worth of spend coming up. Yeah, I'll pick it up. Don't worry about it.
We don't want you to even think about going with a different law firm. We're the nice guys that bought you lunch. Remember?
That's right. And I've had them for over a decade, so it's the first time in 10 years. But it's fine. It's all good. He's
people load on the
I
carbs.
Think he's
man.
a good lawyer.
Well, that's good.
I've used him a bunch of times for stuff, so I think he's good. Although he does never actually do the work. It's always other people. He's a partner.
Hey, as long as he's got good people doing the work that you need done.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the important bit. But love me some Fogo de Chao.
What's your meat of choice?
I'm not the only one.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Well, because you know that proteins are good for you.
Yeah, well, we've talked about it before. You don't have any up there, right?
No, we do. I've never been to one. We have one.
I thought it was some other brand.
No, I think there's one up here. It's not
It's Fogo?
It's not super close, but I mean, it's a close enough. Like it's as close as we can get to like a Gibson's. For some reason, we're out in the middle of like nowhere, where the nicer, expensive restaurants want nothing to do with this area for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
They probably charge you too much in these suburbs. We should get one, man.
I think that I don't know. I think their pricing is pretty reasonable for what you get. You could eat a lot of meat, man.
You can eat a lot of meat. Now, there's a cold opener.
You think that's not a very good one?
Yeah, we'll come up with better. Chicago, Illinois is located at River North, Fogo de Chao.
Okay, there you go. So, but you've never been there?
No.
Okay. Have you been to other churrascarias?
The only one existed briefly out here and then closed. But yes, it was another Brazilian steakhouse kind of. Maybe it wasn't as fancy quite as this, but yeah. And then in Disney World, there is one that is in the Polynesian Hotel, which is a little bit of a Polynesian vibe to it, but it's the same kind of thing. They carry around the big skewers. Like, we got meat, we got steak, we got pork, we got it all.
Yeah.
There is one in Oak Brook. That would be the closest one.
Okay. Well, maybe head out there on a special occasion or something.
When Gene is incarcerated, the wife and I will go and be like, woo! They finally put that bastard in jail.
Oh, yeah. That's worth celebrating.
Yeah, it all depends. If there's a big check coming our way for information given to the authorities.
Exactly.
Got to spend that reward somehow, baby.
Hey, man.
Gene would like this.
Yes.
You got one in Dallas. You got one in...
I've been on the most wanted list for years, and no one's ever found me.
It's that beard, man. Under the beard, Gene looks like, Gary Cooper, man. You would not believe it.
Gary Cooper.
Going back away. We were like, who's Gary Cooper?
Yeah, you might as well say Danny Kaye.
Oh, Danny Kaye was a good one, too. I remember seeing him on Bewitched.
Really?
Yeah, he did a stint on... He was like the...
Oh, really?
He was
Uncle?
something on Bewitched, like her father, or was something weird.
You
never know.
So what else is going on? Any comedians we need to talk about that need to die soon?
Beyond Richard Lewis, who it's like, oh wait, I'm like, I didn't remember. I didn't go look through the archives or anything or the transcripts, but we
definitely did talk about him when we were talking about Curb Your Enthusiasm, but that was quite a few shows ago. So that was not an immediate kind of like we talk about somebody and the next thing you know.
Right. If anything, it was a slow burn.
Definitely a slow burn. And I think that was one of the questions, like, why haven't we seen him on Curb lately? Because the regulars are still doing the show, but we haven't really seen Richard. And he was a big part of it initially.
Would you like?
He was a fake friend, right?
A fake friend.
Yeah, like he was a hired actor. He was not actually friends with Larry David, but he was hired to play Larry's friend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So they only got to know each other after he was hired. But the character of Richard Lewis he was playing was, like an old friend of Larry's from New York.
But believable, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, you take a bunch of those neurotic Jews who used to do comedy back in the 80s.
Yeah.
They're all friends, right?
They have to know each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Unless they're completely antisocial like Larry David and just went home immediately after performing.
Why would anybody ever leave the house? I mean, I don't understand.
These days, I think most people don't understand.
People you don't want to go out there.
So first time I saw my lawyer not wearing a suit.
Oh,
yeah.
What was he wearing?
He's wearing a tracksuit.
I was going to say Adidas tracksuit.
Yeah.
I
was like, dude, out of uniform.
This is totally a bad sign for you.
That he picked up lunch?
That he picked up lunch and was wearing the Adidas tracksuit.
Yeah. Well, he's just clearly they've changed their standard outfits in the firm.
Well, when you're out and about.
Mm-hmm.
This whole concept of making it look like you're professional is overrated.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, I never got that when I worked at Circuit City or Radio Shack, you had to wear the jacket.
Did you have to wear a tie with a sleeve shirt?
Yeah. Like, what the hell, man? Why do you need also the jacket? So, I mean, you had to wear a suit coat. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I thought they just wore sleeve shirts with a tie.
No. I mean, Best Buy, maybe. Circuit City, you had to wear.
Best Buy was blue shirts, man.
Yeah. Maybe you're thinking of in Chuck, which was the fake, the fake company that they worked for. Chuck was a great show, though, let me say.
I never watched it.
You never watched Chuck, man?
No.
Oh, you would like Chuck.
I've had somebody mention that. There's as soon as I get done with House,
How many do you have to go there? Because that's a long
I'm on the
series.
last season, man. I'm on the last season.
They started jumping the shark a little bit.
They totally jumped the shark. It is beyond believable at this point. Everybody's just calling it in. No one's actually trying particularly hard.
But it was still a pretty entertaining show.
I think they should have ended the show before they decided to, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we sent House to like a mental asylum or jail or something? Like they needed to stop it before then.
Well, this is why the end of MASH, which an iconic show, an iconic series of episodes at the end, because I think it was over multiple nights, unless I'm misremembering. But it's Hawkeye in the loony bin, and it's like, really, this is where you want to end? It was just it was a very strange choice.
Yeah.
To be that's our send-off.
Well, I'll tell you what. When we end this podcast, you'll know it because we'll talk about how, hey, we should do a podcast and it'll be a fun thing to write. And that'll be the end of the podcast.
Yes. And you'll never hear from us ever again.
Nope.
Unless
Except
you keep
for all the
donating.
other shows we do.
Right. Under different names, which are totally not, your donations for this show do not carry over when we get to Unrelenting 2.
To other shows. That's right. Every year we change the name slightly.
Yes. Unrelenting.
Oh, you were working on that $1,000 whatever title. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the other podcast.
Yeah.
This podcast.
This is totally different show. Don't you understand? Don't you understand? I mean, if you want to support the show, you just go to unrelenting.show. All the information.
Yeah, because we don't have ads. That's why you should support us. Because remember, most podcasts out there have advertising. We don't.
And it's getting...
We don't do ad reads or anything.
Which is worse than anything else. It's the ad reads.
Unlike some shows.
From the people in
like
the
Gob,
middle.
Who does ad reads.
Gob from... Well, because CSB sends in things. And that's not really an ad read.
I was listening to Gob, and I heard that there was an ad read on the show, and that one of the co-hosts did not appreciate having ad reads.
Well, especially because the ad was for Just Two Good Old Boys. A show.
Well, that doesn't really matter what the ad was for. That's irrelevant. I'm just saying from a listener standpoint that I am.
A show with a long bearded guy and a tech professional. Just Two Good Old Boys.
Mm-hmm. That's also a description of the other Gob. Good Old Boys is also Gob.
I know. Well, that's what I said the one day to a dude named Ben. I'm like, hey, you're infringing on our copyright here that we don't have.
Uh-huh.
Like, I see why you named this show GOB. Uh-huh. Now we get
flying under the radar.
Just right under that radar. Nobody noticing nothing about nothing. But we don't have ads. But this is how we started talking on this episode, No Agenda, with their donation segment and moving it to the end and being able to watch and see how people just tune out, even though it's a very entertaining part. Doesn't matter. People are like, I got to save me some time.
I got to tell you, honestly, had the segment always been at the very end, I don't think I ever would have listened to it.
You're right, because you're like, the show's done.
Because the content's over, you turn it off. It's what you do with all the movies and everything when they start rolling credits.
If you really want
I'm sure there are people that listen to the post-show jingles. And I did when I listened live, but lately I don't listen live. I just play it back, and I never listen to the jingles either.
Well, this is a big thing across the board, whether you're talking podcast, YouTube, that everybody wants to see where your attention wanes. And this is why having the minute by minute kind of watching when people are jumping in and out of a show is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you really need to do, I think, in order to confuse everybody, because the minute they know a segment is coming that's going to last any amount of time, they can tune out, they can fast forward. You almost have to, throughout your show, rather than doing a donation segment, would be just every now and then interrupt the show with,
no, you can't do that. I know where you're going, and you can't do that because that gets people to literally unsubscribe, because Fuck that shit.
What, just to say, hey, we got this in from this person. Hey, thanks.
Yeah, you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that interspersed throughout the show, man.
No, you can't.
That gets people lose interest.
Not if it's quick.
There's a show. I will point you to a show that has that kind of continuous nonstop advertising.
SirGeneUsedToSpeak.com.
Yeah, Sir Gene used to speak. I wish. No, it's a show called Unsubscribe This Podcast.
Well, they were asking.
If you look for if you just do a Google for unsubscribe and the word podcast, you should be able to find it. And they have an appropriately named title because I cannot stand listening to somebody that interrupts the conversation amongst guests literally every 5 minutes to talk about the show or do an ad for somebody or to tell you to subscribe or something. I'm like, dude, I'm going to take your freaking advice and unsubscribe right now. And the guests might be interesting. I ain't going to listen to that show. I'd rather listen to those people somewhere else.
They're up to episode 93, so they're not even up as far as we are. Come on.
Well, I know. But, we're in the top 1% of all podcast survival.
This is true. Because we refuse
when you're in the
to
100s
die.
or like 206 like us,
right?
You're definitely way up there.
We refuse to die. We refuse to relent. We could have just hit episode 100 and then moved to a different name so the feds can't find us.
That's right. Yeah. Feds can't find us. Yeah. Because the feds just go on podcasting 2.0 and do a search by what are the longest running podcasts? Because clearly they're up to no good.
Those are the ones we got to look at. Mm-hmm. So what is the secret sauce then of getting support from an audience that isn't, and well, you don't want ad based. That's number one. Yeah. So to have an audience supported show, I mean, there are shows that do it with things like Patreon. Our buddy that does,
I think the
who are these
as
podcasts?
A viewer / listener, my preferred method of doing that, including shows that I've donated money to, is you mention something initially right off the get-go quickly that you are user supported, listener supported, you don't have ads, blah, blah, blah. So if you want to send something our way, here's how you do it. You want to make sure you tell people how to do it. And the best way to do it is just PayPal. Gene at SirGene.com. No, I just kidding. What's our official PayPal?
I don't know if we actually have one because it all just comes into my PayPal.
Yeah, and then you forget to send me my share. That's true. That's why I'm asking. What's the official one?
Every time. It's Darren something.
It's Darren something. There you go, folks. Just send money to Darren something on PayPal.
I got like
DarrenSomething.com probably.
I have so many emails on PayPal.
I know.
I don't think there's a dedicated Unrelenting one that's being used. Because you don't have to. You set up the thing and then it's marked as Unrelenting for like the donation.
Yeah.
Hey, DigiGuru just jumped into the troll room and said, "You suck." So thanks, buddy. Thanks for hanging in. What's the kind of things people come in? DigiGuru. He's from the city here. He's from Chicago.
Oh, he's from the city.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he knows you. So that's why he's saying you suck.
Yeah, he's going to take me over to Foco de Chao over in Oak Brook and do some damage.
Oh, that's nice of him.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Have ourselves a gay
old time. You going to be wearing a tracksuit?
I wasn't planning. I don't have one, but is that, is it like in a fancy restaurant where like, oh, you don't have a jacket here. Let's provide one for you. Is this, I want to go to the new Gene restaurant where it's like, oh, you don't have an Adidas tracksuit. Well, we can provide one for you. Everybody in the restaurant's wearing an Adidas tracksuit. That would be fantastic.
That would be both a fantastic comic, hint, hint, CSB, and it would be a pretty damn nice restaurant.
There you go. Would everybody have to be in the same color tracksuit, though, where they all be white and then you're serving barbecue? That could be fun, too.
Yeah, that would be fun. I do usually wear a white shirt when I go to Fogo just as a challenge.
Just to see if you can keep it virgin and clean all the way through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because getting back to shows that are supported, that's a balancing act.
Yeah, so once in the beginning and then a longer version of that at the end of the show for the people that bothered listening to the whole thing. But I think if you do it more than twice, it works against you.
You're like, hey, come on, support the show. Don't be a douche.
Mm-hmm.
But the people
this is why I don't watch Twitch. Is because it's nonstop money
for
begging.
money.
Yeah.
But if it's hot chicks, you'll watch.
There's no hot chicks on Twitch, dude.
Gone.
There's chicks that are drawn to be hot.
They all went to OnlyFans.
Yeah, they're all OnlyFans. Yeah.
But as much as it's more of an antiquated system,
Mm-hmm.
the guys that do Who Are These podcasts seem to be doing fairly well with Patreon. It's a little different. The Tell 'em Steve Dave, which is out of the Kevin Smith Buddies thing. I've not subscribed to their Patreon in a while, so I don't know. The content may have changed, but at least they were giving bonus extra content. The normal show was still going along, was still free. It wasn't limited. They didn't cut it in half and say you want to hear the end, because that sucks. But they still had.
I don't know that people need bonus content though. Like I've been signed up for Tim Pool's deal, club, whatever you want to call it. I give money every month.
That's called you being a John and him being a prostitute.
No, not really, because I don't really use the benefits from that. You know what I mean?
You're just using it as a way to move money.
Yeah, because what I can do is I can log into the website and then watch the extra hour after show where they all swear and
there
talk
is
about
bonus
topics
content then.
Yeah, there's an hour every day of bonus content.
Woo!
But my point is, it's there. It's available. They make it. I almost never watch it. I maybe once a month out of every day.
But did that make up your mind to start giving them money? Because that would also be the other question.
Yeah, it did definitely influence my deciding to start giving them money. But honestly, after I started giving him money, I have no interest really in stopping giving him money, because I do like what Tim's doing. I like that he's bringing people on the show with a big audience. You know, he's got the largest live audience on YouTube.
What is he pulling in now per video?
The live stream numbers, I think, are getting close to 1 million.
Okay, that is fairly impressive, being
on
that
a daily basis.
The nightly ratings.
He's got a bigger audience than all the TV networks.
Yeah, he's outperforming CNN.
Absolutely. He's outperforming Fox.
Fox is close, I think, on some of the shows to 1 million.
Yeah, but I mean, they've talked about it that like multiple times when they check, they're usually ahead of Fox on viewership.
And doing it on a shoestring budget on some network that you and I could use.
Okay, shoestring budget. I don't know about that.
Well, compared to Fox News, I mean, I'm not saying he's not paying.
Yeah.
That
He's
he didn't put a lot of money into a studio.
$1 billion corporation. Yeah.
But it's something
also,
that you could do in your home for like, if you had $50,000. He
mostly has no ads, and occasionally he'll have one ad.
If you had to produce the set, the cameras, the microphones, and you had to build this under $50,000
for what he's doing, I'd say probably around 50. But right now he's been in the process of having a new studio built for them, which is much bigger.
He's got too much money. He's got to have a write-off somewhere.
He's got a lot of money, man. Yeah. I think last time he talked about it, he said that he became a millionaire about 12 years ago. Like way before before people really knew about him. And he, at this point, his personal net worth is over 10 million.
Needs that write-off. Needs Gene's $5 a month.
But he's got his, he does need my $5 a month. He's got, maybe it's 10. I don't even know. But he's got, he's got the chicken farms. He's got the coffee production facilities there. He's building a coffee shop in downtown of the city that they're in.
Oh, he's diversified.
He's diversifying like crazy, man. And he's donating a lot of money. Like there was somebody that, what was the legal fund for? Something happened recently, and they were looking for. Oh, it was I think somebody got accused of racism or something. It's another one of these defamation things, and they were looking to get $100 in GoFundMe, and he donated $10,000.
Nice.
Yeah,
he's standing up for the people that need a little.
Yeah, and he's got a super cheap wardrobe. It's a black T-shirt and a black hat.
It's a hell of a lot easier when you don't have any money to pay on wardrobe.
Yeah. A wardrobe budget is basically 10 of the same thing.
It's all you need. Don't need anything more. But I get it.
Yeah.
The write-offs. I mean, have you seen Marquez Brownlee on YouTube, MKBHD? Mm-hmm. It was a couple of months back.
Occasionally.
He did
I think he's pretty good. I just, I don't normally subscribe to his content.
Yeah, if you don't watch the video, he just got a studio space in New York. I mean, that'll make Tim Pool drool. I mean, it's just amazing the amount of space. Because if it is in New York, where I think it is, you know what it costs to get in there. And then he had these little robotic things that move the cameras around. And he's like, oh, this thing is $120,000, but, just for fun.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That's what
he
you
also
know.
Doesn't pay for jack shit. He gets everything for free.
Well, I'm sure he has sent everything in the hopes that he will talk about it.
In one of his videos, that he actually got paid to talk about it, not the other way around.
Well, yeah, Tesla freaking gave him a car for a month.
Yeah.
It's these are the kind of things hey, come on, please talk about us because you have a huge audience.
Yeah. And for Tesla, he may very well have done it for free. But for most of these things he discusses, he's getting paid $100,000 to talk about something.
And then he has the shoe brand. So just like Trump, he's got his own. He's producing shoes and
just like Trump. I'm pretty sure his shoes were around before Trump's.
Yes. Well, Trump was following him. Gary Vaynerchuk even made his own shoes, and they sucked.
And so does Gary Vaynerchuk.
Dude, he just showed up in my email box for the first time in a while because he's like, oh, going back to basics, doing another wine show. And I was like, okay, I want to see what he's doing this time.
Yeah.
And I tried listening for the first 5 minutes. The audio sucked. You couldn't even hear him. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You were doing this before anybody else.
Zoom or something.
Uh-huh. You were doing this before anybody else. You have to be able to hear what you're saying.
So the backstory on him is, he's a kid of immigrants.
Made money selling baseball cards.
Yeah. He was always a bit of a shyster, and his parents owned a liquor store.
Yeah.
And so he basically started doing marketing for them. And that was the genesis of the Gary Vaynerchuk wine, whatever. What was his original
Wine Library TV was the first.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so it was just marketing for the store. That's what it started as, and people seem to like it. And it,
because wine, as somebody who doesn't really drink wine, I understand the market enough to know that there are $5 bottle of wines and there are thousands of dollar bottles of wines, and I don't know the difference. And I think that leads to an opening for that kind of content because people don't want to look like an idiot if you're going to the liquor store, if you're out to dinner, I don't know what I should order.
Don't they?
I don't think they. Do you want to look like an idiot when you go out?
I don't, but people do.
Some people want to look like an idiot, or they go, just give me the most expensive. That must be the best.
Yeah, a lot of people are drinking really shitty wine too. They're drinking bottles or boxes of wine.
Good box wine is hard to find.
Yeah, and there was I remember somebody talked about this that was in the industry, is how it was very unfortunate that the first companies to adopt using a novel packaging scheme of boxes for wine were cheap winemakers, because it's a superior design for selling wine, for shipping wine.
Well, yeah,
and for drinking wine.
The thing you want
it
with
doesn't
wine,
let it oxidize.
Right, and no light.
Yeah, no light, no oxidization. and it's cheaper than the bottle, and it's square, so you can store a lot more of them in the same space. There's so many pros to using a box, but because it's the companies that made super cheap wine were the first ones to adopt this technology, nobody else can, because no one wants to be the expensive box wine, because it's going to be a laughing stock instead of being treated as a good wine.
Well, yeah, and a few have tried. A few have tried. There were some.
Yeah. There are some better quality ones that are box wines out there, but they're really like swimming against the current.
Yeah. Well, there was ones on Shark Tank that were trying to do like glass by glass, which is even harder.
Those worked. Those totally went. Yeah, those went gangbusters, man.
Like I just want
those were good investments.
Well, yeah. I mean,
you can buy them anywhere. You can buy them in grocery stores here.
You can be like, give me one of them. Just want a glass of wine.
I want a glass of wine that I'm going to drink as soon as I get in my car.
Well, I drive my kids to soccer practice. They're the reasons why.
Stronger with the kids in the car. Yeah.
That was when I was watching that. I was, my original thought was, well, this is going to be way harder if you can't get people to buy this in bulk. Although I guess you can have a higher profit margin on these smaller sizes.
It's a way higher profit margin. People are willing to pay for it because generally it's a fairly cheap, not a super cheap, but fairly cheap wine. And you're selling it for about the quarter of the cost of the bottle. But there's actually 7 glasses per bottle.
And you're getting the convenience factor. Oh, we're taking it on a picnic. Oh, going to see little Jimmy play Little League. Yeah. Oh, I'll have some wine with me.
Yeah, and you might as well bring a box. But since you don't think box wines are good, you're going to bring one of those.
Yeah, and have a fancy little glass you could just pull the top off of.
I don't know.
They sold them at the ballpark here for a while.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's been like over 2 years now that I haven't had a drink.
You've been a lot more fun since then, too.
I don't know about that, but I feel better.
Well, that's key.
I get to now be up at 4 a.m. Twittering and Xing.
I don't know if that's good for you.
It's not, but there's no way I would have been able to do that if I was drinking.
You would barely be able to get up to do the show.
Barely. I don't know. Maybe. I think that's one of the biggest things I notice for myself at the age that I kind of stopped drinking, which is 50, is that, or I guess after 50 I stopped drinking, but 50-ish. And is that when I didn't drink at all for like several weeks, I had noticeably more energy. Now that's like the default state. So I don't feel like I have more. I feel like I have, whatever amount, the standard amount of energy. Right. And when I was drinking, I probably had less.
Makes sense.
But that's, when I was young, dude, I don't think there was a time in my life where I don't think a single day would go by in a year that I wasn't drinking with somebody. And it was just a very normal thing. We had. Well,
you're Russian, dude. Come on, that's like vodka with everything, right? Isn't that?
Just but I'm talking about the U.S. I mean,
but you're still Russian.
The Russian part is
in your
like
DNA.
When it's my DNA.
Yeah,
that's right. And boy, does CSB want to get a piece of that DNA.
He wants a little Russian in him.
He wants to verify and confirm you're pure blood Russian.
He wants that killer instinct that Vlad the Terrible has.
Right. It's funny. So I was actually watching a video game video the other day in Polish, and it's interesting to see how many words different languages borrow from English.
Oh yeah, and I read something the other day about the easiest languages to learn if you're an English speaker. And yes, it pointed out exactly that a lot of these, like, very close, you can pick up certain languages way more easily than others.
I don't think any languages are easy if you only speak English.
No, not extremely, but easier than others.
because nothing's like English. Everything's kind of far away from it. German's probably the closest, but German is not easy to learn if you speak English. Like if you speak Spanish, Italian's pretty easy to learn. If you speak Russian, then all the Slavic languages are pretty easy to learn. If you speak Latin, then all the Romance languages are pretty easy to learn. But English is kind of,
a bastardized language.
It's like I said, maybe I'm wrong in this. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that German is the closest language to English.
All I know is I saw somebody post on the Fediverse.
Yeah. Wow. The Fediverse. There you go.
I know. And they tagged CSB, and it was allegedly the contestants for Miss Poland this year, and like almost all hot blondes, hot white blondes. It's like there's not a lot of diversity there in Poland. I see why it might not be a bad place diversity.
To visit. There's plenty, dude. That's so let's see. Yeah, Polish stereotypically, like hot looking Polish chicks were always blonde, in my experience.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, it's really, if you think of a stereotypical woman from Dallas, Texas.
I don't know what that looks like, except for like Sue Ann.
Big hair, blonde.
Right. Well, I'm thinking Dallas from like the 1980s. It's like,
that's overlaid equivalent to what a Polish chick would look like. There are certainly people with dark hair in Poland too that are Polish, but my stereotypical experience, I guess, with Polish hot women is that they're all blondes.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And like actual blondes, not fake blondes.
Yeah, not bottled.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember when I said that type of phrase to somebody, talked about how, I have an affinity for redheads, but really the real redheads, not the fake redheads.
They didn't like that.
And holy shit, did that piss off this one chick that was like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean fake redheads? If I choose to color my hair red, I'm more red than the redheads that were born that way because they didn't even choose. It's like, whoa. Hold it. Hold up.
Slow your roll. You're not natural, baby.
Yeah. I mean, you might have great tits, but if there's a dick down there, you ain't real.
The whole package ain't doing it for me.
It's, if you had to do something to get to where you're at, then you can't call that not fake.
Right. But they can, because this is the new sickness in society is, no, you have to call me by the pronoun that I want you to. Or you have to do this. You have to do that.
No, they can call themselves anything they want. I'm not going to. I have no obligation.
Well, soon you will. They'll be putting you in jail. Well, we're not in Canada, so we're lucky because it seems they're going down that route of, well, if you post hate speech on the internet.
Yeah, they totally will do that.
Like, here's the thing.
Canada is so fucked. I mean, Canada, when I was young, Canada used to be like basically one big country that was a Boy Scout camp.
Right. Kind of, right? Yeah.
The whole country was that. And, they were nice. They were nice to their mothers. They said please and thank you. And you had to learn how to live in the woods and tap maple trees. And that was your experience.
And maple syrup is delicious.
Yeah. Although we have that in Vermont and stuff too. But yeah Canadian maple's good.
Well, CSB posted something.
I actually like birch syrup's really good too.
I don't think I've ever tried that.
Mm-hmm.
But CSB posted something about saying please and thank you, to the AI for when they take over, that maybe they'll be nicer to you.
Oh, I always do that. Whenever I tell Alexa to go do something, she'll tell me she just did it, and I say thank you.
I do too, because I do it purposefully, because I think if I stop doing that, I'll stop doing that to regular people as well. Like when you go into.
No, I'm just doing it for when they take over.
For the so you've got a strategy.
I have no illusions there. No, I know it's coming. It's not a question of if; it's a question of when.
It's like, so instead of where some people with their devices are like, give me the weather, we're like, If you're not too busy at this particular moment, could you
call their
possibly give us the
devices like
weather?
bitch and cunt and everything else is crazy high.
You talking about wives or their devices?
Devices, I said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you can change the name.
Because nobody calls their wife that and stays married.
Not for long. Not for long at all.
No, and I rewatched the COVID episode of South Park the other day where it takes place in the future. You remember that one? Where all the guys are like in their 30s?
No, I must have missed it. I watched
the last. How'd you miss that? You should watch it.
I only watched the last two. See, once it switched over to Paramount, I stopped watching it. And I downloaded the last two seasons, although that was only like 10 episodes, so I need to go back further.
Yeah, they're super short. But yeah, grab the COVID episode. It's a two-parter, and they're all adults and stuff. But in there, early on, you could see Randy's kid, what's his name? Stan, being talking, like driving the car with this woman, and he's talking to her like it's his wife. And then you notice that he's addressing her as Alexa. And then she's, bickering and arguing with him like wives do. And then he says, stop, Alexa, just stop. And then you see her image disappear. And it's when you realize, like, in the future, Alexas will actually be holograms.
Yeah, why not?
And they'll actually interact with you nonstop. Okay.
And all I have said again and again, if you were somebody who had that name as your legal name before these devices came out, I would be suing Amazon into the ground because they screwed you.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
They screwed you. Digiguru says he'd like to see a cage match between Kevin O'Leary and Mark Cuban. I don't know how that would go.
I think Kevin O'Leary would bite Mark Cuban, and I guarantee you he would. And, Cuban, he's too damn tall, right?
Yeah, he's a big guy.
The taller you are, the faster you fall down.
Yeah, but you also, as long as you're not falling, you've got a chance to.
Yeah, but Kevin O'Leary is he's like a chihuahua. He's going to bite you right away.
Yeah, he's a little pit bull. Okay, maybe a chihuahua's better.
Yeah, whatever, pit bull chihuahua. But he's just going to grab onto the ankle and not let go. So I think that cage match, I would love to see it in the sense that Cuban definitely is somebody that needs to be taken down a few steps.
Well, he is successful.
He's drinking his own Kool-Aid.
I agree with that.
He's not successful. He had one good deal.
He has the money.
He's been living off of it.
Yes.
He was literally a character they made fun of in Silicon Valley, the show.
With that said,
he was that guy,
right? The one with the guy with the car and the
billionaire guy. It's like, hey man,
I want another comma. That was the comma guy.
That's all he cared about is the 3 comma club.
Right.
It's like you got to be in that.
Hey, I'm looking for I want to get into the 3 comma club, baby. Come on. Working my way there, and $2 at a time.
I think there's a few girls that have gotten to that point in their body counts by this time.
Right, they're busy. Very busy. But I mean, Mark Cuban, I think, even though he is successful in a different way, he made the money, he invested in some companies, that he's not a total pretender, but I agree with you that he self-aggrandizes. Is that the proper word? Himself just a little too much?
He would, if he didn't manage to sell that HDNet TV channel that he started up, if he did not sell that, he would be a guy no one's ever heard of, still trying to make like his 10th million right now.
Leary started with some kind of educational software or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just boring software shit in Canada.
Well, if it takes off and enough people get involved, enough people buy.
Yeah.
This is why I'm surprised, unless maybe it has and I'm just not seeing it, now that these large language models make it easier for people to do shitty programming and make shitty apps. Like, has there been an influx?
They're not shitty. I don't think it's fair to call the stuff that the AI writes shitty. It's very standardized code.
So this comes down to if you have an idea on something that could be helpful, that would be an app, instead of going to hire a actual programmer at this point.
Developer.
Right. Rather than going to a developer.
Hire somebody that knows how to speak AI.
Rather than going to, Fiverr and finding somebody in India willing for $5 an hour to help you write your program. Well, now
good luck with that.
Now you just go to the AI and say, I need, whatever you're working in, code that does this, and then you just punch it in and go, oh. I mean, I'm curious. I mean, I've never tried that. I should. I would be interested in see how like AI could do. Bemrose wrote that fabulous Ryan Bemrose from Grumpy Old Men's wrote a very simplistic chapters app in Windows in what do you call it? PowerShell.
Yeah, PowerShell.
That is able to, you just type in the time code, you type in the chapter name or the image or the URL, and then it puts it all together in a JSON. It would probably be fair. I wonder if I could just go to ChatGPT and be like, write me this to do this. Yeah, you could. And then boom, it just kicks it right on out.
Ish.
Guys, right. Then you need another AI to proofread it and figure out where the problem is.
Exactly.
I did think it was interesting.
It is. AI is definitely being used a lot by developers right now because it's way faster than looking shit up online through a bunch of website examples to do something. Now you just tell it what you're trying to do. But like everything else, you're just creating a new job category. And the new job category is an AI interpreter.
Wrangler. You want an AI wrangler.
You basically need to hire somebody that understands how to talk to the AI to get it to do what you're trying to do.
Right.
Which is you're still going to pay somebody. It just may not be somebody called developer.
That makes sense. I thought it was interesting.
Unless you want to learn how to talk AI.
I thought it was very interesting that a girl, forget what college it was accused of using AI in a paper. And her claim, I mean, again, this is the world. You never know what's true, what's not. But her claim was she only used Grammarly.
Yeah, that's an AI.
But it's an allowed AI because it's only to correct your grammar. It wasn't do you know grammar test. This was, so there was there was nothing that said you couldn't use that. And I think there's a big difference between having an AI that's correcting your grammar and having an AI that's writing your prose.
They're not really.
You think it's the same thing, huh?
Grammarly does way more than correct your grammar. Incidentally, it's also a Ukrainian company, so I got rid of it. But
I know. Right after I paid for it, you told me that.
Yeah. There's a different one that I use that is not. It's called Pro Writing Aid. They're not Ukrainian. It's just like Grammarly. Very similar, but I think they're not quite as.
Cotton Gin says, "Fix your own grammar." You don't. Well, the ability has to be
do
there.
That. Nobody does that, dude. As somebody who's written books, no, you have other people do that.
Every time one of these things, whether it's Grammarly or Pro Writing Aid or whatever, anytime one of them throws in like a semicolon, I'm like, "Fuck." I didn't know I needed a semicolon there. What the fuck is a semicolon?
Well, that's when you have a list of things.
Yeah.
And you're separating them.
But yeah, I can understand. And then sometimes you get the dash.
Did you go to grammar school?
No. And then you get the dash. Okay. Well, they don't even have grammar school anymore. They have elementary school.
Yeah.
You got the dashes, you got the colons, you got the semicolons, you got all these things. And it's like, I don't know. You got problems. If you got problems in your colon, you need a proctologist.
You know way more than the current generation does. Well, they don't know how to do anything related to writing.
This is true. They don't even want to use capital letters because they are.
Nope.
They are.
They can only print and they can only print lowercase.
Right, because capital letters are aggressive. They don't want to trigger anybody.
Yeah.
And then, no, periods or something were aggressive too. There was like period. Yeah, there was a whole thing at 1.2. Like, you guys are just fucking nuts.
Well, periods are aggressive. I don't want to deal with blood.
Just what? I'm not. We're in grammar. We're talking grammar.
Oh, I thought we moved on.
We don't want to just they want all of the text on the internet to be E.E. Cummings, just all lowercase, no punctuation. I guess maybe it would be a better world. Can you imagine if all the fake news stories were just put in that kind of a format?
It'd be just like the best movie in the world, wouldn't it?
Idiocracy, you mean? That's the best movie in the world now to you?
I'm glad you think so.
You thought, I knew where you were going with it, because even though you are like sleep deprived and tired, I can still hear that little synapse going off. Idiocracy. Maybe I'll have to watch it like 4,000 more times, and then I'll be like, dude, I finally get it.
I know. I think you were just, I don't know what your expectations were, but clearly they mismatched the movie, because I was laughing my ass off. So I watched another movie that Ben recommended, that Ben couldn't also believe that you didn't like, Idiocracy, but he recommended a movie I'd never seen called God Bless America. Have you seen this movie?
It's a very generic title. We look it up.
Came out maybe 15 years ago-ish.
I was probably too busy getting laid.
I doubt it.
God Bless America. 2011.
Yeah.
No, that does not look familiar.
I
like that guy. He was in that one show. The Joel
He was
Murray,
in that one show. You're right about that.
That one show, the guy.
Yeah, he usually plays one of those guys.
Yeah, the one like he's going to tell you why you're stupid. Oh, he was in Mad Men for 15 episodes.
The basic premise is you got a guy who is just miserable in a lot of things in life, as men tend to be, and just putting up with everything. And then he ends up snapping and wanting to, well, he's always been kind of thinking about wanting to shoot people or kill people. And then finally he snaps and does it. And boy, does it feel good.
So it's a movie about mass murder.
It's a dark comedy about a love story between a mass murderer and an underage girl.
Oh, well, what could go wrong?
So clearly major Hollywood promotion for this one when it came out. Not. It is very self-aware, meaning it's poking fun at a lot of things it's saying. Like, it's not saying shit seriously. It sounds like it's serious, but then it's actually making fun of itself. But I really enjoyed it. I was genuinely LOLing.
Did you just really say that? I mean,
literally
LOLing.
I was genuinely LOLing. And I don't say that, lightly, because not many things make me laugh out loud in real life. And this movie did. I was watching it by myself, and there were a number of occasions where I laughed out loud at the stuff that was happening. So another recommendation came through Ben. I would suggest you watch it. I'm sure you. In fact, it's free. I watched it for free on Amazon right now, on Prime. So
I will add this to the list. When it's written and directed by Bobcat Goldthwait, it's going to be good. Yeah.
And I was going to save that to the last. You beat me to the punch, because I was going to say, and by the way, it is yet another movie that was written by the great writer of Shakes the Clown.
Oh, Shakes the Clown is now that's a great movie. That is a comedy classic.
Well, then you will enjoy this one. That's all I can say.
I love Shakes the Clown. The people, if you haven't seen
Shakes the Clown hates you.
Yeah. But that's one. I think we can agree on. That's a movie we both put on the list.
Yeah. Bobcat is whether he's Bob or Bobcat, depending on the day of the week, he was pretty damn funny. Oh, shit. I think we just killed Bob Goldthwait.
Oh, no. Is he? Well, he's still alive, so that's good.
Today he is, but what about tomorrow?
True. If we're by the next show.
The curse.
The curse lives on. Now, have you ever
talk about comedians?
Have you ever watched probably consider it a dramedy, Sports Night? It only lasted 2 years. Half-hour comedy / dramedy.
It has the word sports in it, so I'm going to take a no.
It has nothing to do with sports. It's all about, it's very, very, very loosely based on ESPN, and it follows the people that do the show rather than following the sport. So, but it was one of the
so that
best.
would be a no.
Oh, there were some moments in there that literally was the last time I could probably remember with a television show laughing out loud. And there was one particular bit I remember playing for a buddy of mine that came over. I'm like, you got to see this show. And he fell on the floor laughing, could not even speak because the thing was just so.
He ruffled?
Yes. So literally, and that rarely happens in real life.
Literally ruffled.
And it's like, it was just a very well written show. And it had some of the most witty dialogue. And it was a shame that it didn't last longer than it did.
But that's true of most shows with great dialogue. That's why my perfect example of that is Arrested Development, which was started and stopped like 3 times over the course of all the episodes because they kept canceling it because people didn't get it. And it is absolutely, in my mind, in the top 10 of the best written shows in the history of television.
Yeah, and Sports Night was Aaron Sorkin's first series.
Oh, Sorkin, sure. Yeah, he's good.
It came in right as like the year before. And I think The West Wing started a year after, which is why I don't think Sorkin really cared about what happened with Sports Night after the first 2 seasons, because people were hoping they were going to pick up for a third. But they were one of the first shows that I ever remember seeing where the actors would be delivering their lines while walking through hallways and things like that, where the camera's obviously in front of them. Yeah, but that's way harder to do than standing in one place and delivering.
It's a 3-person operation.
Yes,
you got one guy facing the correct direction with guiding a guy who's walking backwards and keeping the cables and everything else moving, and then there's the camera guy himself.
And then the people that are actually doing their jobs and saying their lines while making sure they don't, trip and fall while doing it.
Everybody gets a lot of exercise, though.
True. It was a hell of a crowd that they employed on the show. Josh Charles, who went off to a bunch of different things. Peter Krause, Felicity Huffman, Sabrina Lloyd, from Sliders. Robert Guillaume as the station manager. I mean, just
funny.
It was a fantastic cast and just so well written. Oh, and William Macy also was in there for 6 episodes, who stole the show when he was on it for 6 episodes.
A good character actor.
So that would go at the top of my highly recommend if you can watch something. It's they're quick 22-minute episodes. You'll be through the whole series within about a weekend.
Which is Wings?
Wings. I saw that. Who was in Wings? Do you want to eat wings? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I was thinking food. I'm getting kind of thinking about lunch.
I thought maybe you were talking about the show, not Paul McCartney and
I did
Wings.
watch the show Wings occasionally. I was never like a super diehard fan or anything, but it had some good episodes.
It was
about
one
the
of them
guys that ran an airport on Nantucket.
And Monk was in it. Adrian Monk.
Before he was Monk.
Yes, before he was Monk. Why can't I remember his actual name? Tony Shalhoub. The cab driver.
Lebanese guy.
Antonio Scarpacci.
Yeah, even though he's Lebanese.
If you say so. I didn't. Did you? Are you in CSB in some kind of club where you check everybody's DNA the minute they walk through the door?
We absolutely. It's called being a Slavic person.
Yes. What are you? Tell me what you are.
I ask that of strangers all the time, and people don't seem to understand why.
Anthony Mark Shalhoub
that's an interesting last name. So where does your mother come from?
Exactly. He was born and raised in Green Bay. He's American. He's more American than you are. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, he's a Lebanese dude as far as I'm concerned.
Well, they said his father owned a grocery chain. He emigrated from Lebanon as an orphan at age 10.
I could tell by looking at his nose. See, I determined that just from purely physical features.
And his wife, the mother, was born in Wisconsin to Lebanese parents. So, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, 100% right. See, there you go. CSB don't even need a DNA check. You just tell by looking at his nose.
You just need Gene. He will tell you if you have any question what anybody. It's a new service Gene is providing. Send him a photo on X, and he will tell you.
I do it on Fiverr. I have a Fiverr that does DNA analysis without needing DNA.
There you. I don't think it works that way. How reliable are these results?
Hey, it's as reliable as I am.
Oh, well, that's true. There are no guarantees on anything.
No, but he is a pretty good actor.
And you will get a free poncho with every DNA reading that you get.
DNA reading. I like that. That's a good phrase, right? Yeah, I'm a professional DNA reader.
Yeah, I can tell by just the way you
really?
look.
Wait, do you have equipment for this? No.
Yeah, Photoshop.
I just use my eyes.
Yes, a monitor. A thing called an internet connection. It all just works together.
Yeah. I can't believe you looked them up. That's hilarious. That was real time.
We got to know these things, man. We have to have the information.
You don't trust me? What?
No. We're always looking to fact check immediately.
Yeah.
And he's got, holy shit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 siblings. He's one of 10 kids. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They were busy. And he's a fan of the Green Bay Packers and still holds season tickets. So there you go.
Really? Now that's something I didn't know. That's impressive.
This is the things you can find out at IMDb.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure you have a listing on IMDb.
I should. Yeah.
Naftulyev.
Mm-hmm.
You are the producer of the producer program.
That's correct.
And of No Agenda.
And I'm also a legitimate businessman too.
That's more questionable.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that listing is roughly equivalent to being a legitimate businessman.
Totally legitimate. It's hard to get listed on IMDb, you know.
Yeah, you have to be real.
Or kind of. I mean, you produce no agenda.
No fakes.
One episode. You were at one episode producer they got you down for.
For what?
An associate producer of No Agenda.
Associate.
Episode. It just says one. I don't even know which episode.
I did not add that. Somebody else must have added that to me.
I think I did that artwork too. 1534. Really? Yeah, you must have. That may be the last time you donated was episode 1534.
What are they on?
1630 something. Right?
Oh, I think I donated about a year ago was the last time.
That'd be about right.
So right around there. But I definitely did not add that to my listing. I never did No Agenda stuff.
No, well, somebody was doing it for a while, and even like all of the art. Let's see, there's a Darren O'Neill actor, Dramarama. No, that's not me. But I am an art director for No Agenda. So I am.
Oh, congratulations.
An IMDb from 2020 to 2024. Mm-hmm. That's what we are known for.
Yeah, that's very cool. And so as the art director, you get to control all the artists.
Yeah, I control everything.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
I'm the guy pulling the strings.
I thought you were the fluffer.
Right.
Was that the real title?
I'm the pre-show guy.
You're the fluffer.
Right.
No Agenda.
Getting everybody ready, like when you go into a live television studio
audience. That's what
audience,
a fluffer does. Gets everybody ready.
Guy that comes out is like, hey, everybody, where are you from? Anybody here from out of town? Woo!
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, we're getting you ready.
Yeah, that's called a vamp, but
get people excited.
Yeah.
Getting back to
you
fluffing.
Don't really do that.
I get people ready to troll. It all depends.
You're mostly just playing music though.
Which is, you don't think that gets people ready to troll? I've had people totally just quit everything because they heard Taylor Swift. They're like, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. I'm out. Would you like to play a little Taylor Swift today?
No, I don't have any ready. I would.
Check. You don't have any ready. Oh, you're going to get kicked out of the club now.
Don't have any at the ready.
Y'all hear that?
Boom, boom,
Darren
boom, boom.
O'Neill is not ready for Taylor Swift.
Oh, I'm always ready for Taylor Swift. If Taylor Swift knocked on the door, I wouldn't even say goodbye, Gene. I would just be gone.
You just be out of here.
Be like, where'd he go? Got something to do.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Yeah, I don't have
what were if you met Taylor Swift in real life form?
In real life form?
What would your first words be?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not a great way to start a conversation.
Be like, so, you know.
It'd be like, habba.
No, I think I'm way beyond that. I mean, I've met enough hot country music stars back in the day.
Country music stars. Well, she's neither. None of those. So,
well, she was a country music star at one point. I mean, let's also remember that I worked
everybody was a country music star at one point.
4 different playmates and had them calling me up at all times.
Yeah.
It's really, once you get that, it's like, what's the point of being nervous? It's like, it's not like there's a big difference.
It's the money, dumbass. It has nothing to do with looks because she ain't got it. It's the money.
Money. What could you want me to picture?
I remember to this day the first billionaire I ever talked to.
I know what you're saying. You're like, Gene's like, if you meet Taylor Swift, the first thing you want to be is like, I have this podcast called Unrelenting. We could use some funding.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you like to lose a lot of money quickly? I have a podcast and I can help you.
I have an amazing podcast that I would love to have you promote for me.
Could be a great write-off for you. And it could end your career once people listen to the show and they're like, what? What's this? What are they talking about? Yeah, that would go really well. Who was the first billionaire you talked to?
The first billionaire I talked to was the owner of, well, at that point, a large percentage, but not the complete owner of West Publishing.
West Publishing?
And yeah, the guys that make all the law books and have an online service that used to be a lot more of a thing, not anymore these days, called Westlaw, where you could look up any case, like,
any
for
case.
historical purpose.
Right.
So basically, it's where lawyers used to search for past cases to reference.
Before AI was just faking it for them.
Yeah, well, now they don't have to. They could fake everything. Just fake. Yeah, exactly. Have the AI come up with some fake cases. Did you? It's interesting you say that. Well, let me finish the Westlaw story. So I talked to this guy. Would have been, I want to say, 1994, 95 time frame. And I was sitting in a cigar shop, smoking a cigar, middle of the day. And there's another guy sitting there smoking a cigar.
And he thought you were homeless.
And I noticed that I was wearing a suit and tie like I always used to.
Not a tracksuit?
And I noticed that
I'm totally not franchised.
I noticed he had one of the brand new Motorola Super Slim flip phones. Not the TrackMate or whatever the hell it is, but one of the really thin ones when that came out. And so I said, "Oh, hey, you got that phone? It's pretty cool. What do you think of it?" So we had like a half-hour conversation about his phone, and then I think I told him some opinions about politics. Haven't recently ran for office, and it was only when he was leaving and we shook hands and he gave me his business card did I realize I just talked to my first billionaire.
Oh, then you came right after.
No, that would have been about 6 hours later when I met up with a hot chick. But
still thinking about the billionaire, no doubt.
Yeah, no, it was one of those things where had I known he was a billionaire, I would have clearly asked for money. Because that's billionaires are known for giving lots of money away to people that ask them.
Right, that's what they're known as. They're known for.
Mm-hmm. Known for that.
They love
being
it too.
Not good at handling their money.
They love right. There's no. I can't even figure out how they've got so much money because they give so much away.
I know, right?
They should have zero left. You're like, you're looking for a good investment? He's like, yep. What you got isn't it, but I'm looking for a good investment. Looking for one, not finding one. You got to pick his brain a little bit, and he's just a regular guy. Billionaires are people too. Yeah,
no, and I met him a few times after that. I mean, he stopped at the cigar shop and stuff. So.
Where you would often spend your days.
Yeah, I would spend a lot of my days at the cigar shop.
Smoking expensive cigars.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's the reason. Smoking is the reason everything bad's happening to people.
Probably. I had a cigar, a humidor in a cigar shop literally since the mid 90s up until I moved to Austin. I always had I have photos of Adam hanging out at my cigar shop in Dallas, and my locker there was labeled no agenda.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
Now he's like, I don't want to be associated with you because, unrelenting.
Well, yeah. What did you do exactly that pissed him off so much?
Wasn't me.
Well, it sure sounds like it was you.
No, it was everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
The Unrelenting show is one that people turn to for a little bit of sanity in an otherwise insane world. They can hear about what Gene's ordering for lunch, what kind of a Whopper,
fried chicken,
how many grams of carbs he's going to have, what that's going to do to his sugar level.
I'd rather have something with low carbs like fried chicken.
There's a lot of carbs in fried chicken, isn't there?
Well, luckily they don't list what they are. So
that doesn't mean it's healthier for you. When they don't list the nutritional values, does not say, oh, well, this must be healthy.
I mean, it might be.
Yeah.
You never know because they don't list it.
You're right. It could absolutely be healthy.
Mm-hmm. That's where I'm going to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of a food that's healthier than fried chicken.
My brain just broke at that one. I'm guessing there's broccoli, maybe. Any vegetable.
Broccoli is not healthy at all, man. There's nothing in broccoli.
Any vegetable whatsoever, probably healthier than fried chicken. Have a little kale.
How do you figure that? Most vegetables are lacking in most nutrients.
They're horrible for you. When you come to Unrelenting, you get the best nutritional advice that you can pay for.
Which we don't offer, but yes. I mean, honestly, you can replace everything that's good about vegetables. You can literally replace with a handful of vitamin pills.
Well, that's what you should do then, not eat at all, which you did for 3 weeks.
But you can't replace the protein in the fried chicken.
You can have grilled chicken without skin.
Yes, but the skin's the best tasting part of it.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
In fact, last time I went to Costco, I picked up one of those Costco chickens that they sell and lose money on every time they sell it.
Yeah, the rotisseries.
And I just ate the skin and threw the chicken away.
I would like, does your Costco have the little area where like people can sit down and eat?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because I would love to see the guy who buys like 3 rotisserie chickens, eats the skin, and then just throws the chicken away while people are watching you.
The skin is a much tastier part of the chicken.
Yeah, like, would anybody want the meat? No, that's garbage. I just wanted the.
And I don't know why people would think that's weird, because I also really enjoy and order every time I get sushi. I get salmon skin rolls.
I've never had sushi, so I wouldn't know, but that might be delicious.
No, that is, yeah. So salmon skin rolls, and I get the hand roll version of that, is basically the skin from the salmon that's fried. That's fried skin.
DigiGuru says, so Gene is protein. Yes.
I am totally protein. I don't understand why people wouldn't be protein.
Have a lot of skin.
What?
They'll get a lot of skin. The skin is the best part.
Yeah, skin's great, man. Protein skin is the best.
I don't know how the Middle Eastern place makes their chicken, but it is delicious. It's the best damn chicken I've ever had.
I have a suspicion that probably it's delicious for the same reason that the place that I really enjoy here has amazing chicken.
Is it going to ruin it for me?
I'm going to tell you, because they marinate it.
It's something delicious.
You're not just eating raw chicken that's cooked with some shit slathered on top. You're eating chicken that's been sitting in marinade for 24 hours.
That has deliciously sucked up all the flavor.
And I've got, I shouldn't have ordered chicken.
And then cooked just right.
I just realized I have marinated chicken sitting in my fridge right now.
And you just ordered lunch.
I just ordered chicken for lunch.
See? You're going to have a lot of chicken.
I do enjoy the chicken, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's good because you're going to have a lot of it.
it's
There are plenty of ISO contenders for today too.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, definitely better than that first one that you decided to go with.
Yeah.
That was not a very good one.
And the sound quality was perfect today. No dropouts or anything. So Clean Feed winning over Zoom so far.
Well, Clean Feed's always had good audio quality. The issue with Clean Feed isn't the audio quality. It's
how
the
you
fact
can
that
move the channels around.
It's that I have to keep my Motu set up a certain way. Otherwise, I don't hear you.
And it's also the reason why I haven't just ordered a Mac Mini yet or a Mac Studio, because I'm like, I don't know, my Motu ain't going to work.
It's totally going to work. Did you see the link I sent you, or several of them after last show?
Yes.
For the
display adapter. Well, that was what I wanted to avoid.
You can hook up 2 natively.
Correct. And you could do like 3 more.
And then you could do a 3 through 6 using USB adapters, which honestly, you'd never even know the difference other than the fact that you can't play games on them because they're not accelerated.
Yes, and you can't do anything that has the moronic
3D shit.
Well, it's not just the 3D, anything with digital rights management. So if you're doing something,
oh right, correct.
Or if you have, if you log in to watch Netflix or something, it won't work on that monitor because they're like, oh no, you're trying to copy it. Like it's so fucking hard to copy that stuff.
Yeah.
But that way you could get away with the cheapest of the Mac Minis. You then just need like a nice dock for a couple of $100
bucks. Now it's like literally $4.99.
Well, that's what Costco's always had it for.
Mm-hmm.
But if you hop it up to the Mac Mini Pro, you could do the monitors right out of the box and get much quicker. Although it's still like 16 gig of RAM. I know it doesn't really matter that much, but that's still, as a Windows user, they need to do some better marketing to let me know why my shitty old 3-year-old Windows desktop that has, what does this thing have? 64 gig of RAM.
64, yeah.
Tell me why 16 is okay again.
Well, I'll tell you right now, and it's, first of all, the more the better on any computer, period.
Yes.
Okay. So you got to keep that in mind. But here's the other thing. It's like, right now, all I'm doing on my computer, on my PC, which we're talking on the Mac, is I'm running 2 web browsers and Signal. Okay. 3 applications I'm running. It is using 24.7 out of 64 gigs of RAM right now.
That's a lot of RAM for that.
Whoa,
dude. Are you okay? The web browsers. I
hit myself with a microphone.
The web browsers do end up taking a lot more RAM than you would think.
And it's just, now granted, I have probably 30 windows open, but still.
And they're all running video, but that shouldn't take up that much RAM.
No, they're not all running video. No, they're running mostly my email. And now if I look at the Mac, let me look at
and see how well it manages that small amount of RAM
Mac
that's in there.
Is right now running the browser that we're talking on, and it's running OBS that is sending audio and video to the internet. And Descript is still running because I forgot to quit out of it, and Signal is also running. And the Mac right now has half of its memory unused.
And this is what, 16 or 32?
It's a 16, yeah.
So only 8.
So it's only using like 8.3 gigs of memory right now.
Interesting. So you like the Mac Mini?
Yeah, 9.3 gigs. So it's just, I think the Mac does not require as much memory for processing. However, I will give you the caveat that when it comes to shit like Photoshop or video editing, there is no substitute for having real memory.
No, you got to have it.
It doesn't matter how compressed the code is that runs. If you're talking about, moving video files and playing back video, the more RAM you have, the more it'll keep in memory.
Well, what I really want to find out is, because when I do processing on any of these 2-hour plus shows, it could take 45 minutes to an hour to process. I'd like to cut that down to more like 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, it could probably do it damn near real time because it's, well, I guess you don't want it real time because you don't start the processing until after we're done. So never mind.
Right. You want that all to be done so everything's nice and smooth in the finished product that you're hearing right now, if you're not listening live. But if you are, or if you're not, join us live when we do these 10 a.m. Central Time, the mighty No Agenda Stream, noagendastream.com, trollroom.io. And if I ever get an X account, maybe we could broadcast live on X. That'd be fun too.
Hell yeah. Well, we're doing it right now, but yeah.
I know, but that's your X account. Nobody follows you. Follow Gene, Sir Gene
that's
TX.
True. Yeah, follow. Yeah, I see. No one follows me because I forget to ask for it. Follow
Gene.
Sir Gene TX, as in Texas.
And then follow
Sir
me,
Gene TX,
Darren O'Neill, and then follow me.
You're probably already getting following Darren if you're listening to this anyway.
Also follow the Fetty, me, Darren, DARREN at planetrage.social.
Yeah, don't bother following me on the Fetty.
No, you're gone.
I know, but there's so many people still following me on there.
Are you ever coming back?
Well, I don't know. I mean, is the Fetty going to get better?